Hello everyone, this is Esfandiar Khaleghi once again with the other part of the sessions 3 of the CAD CAE Bootcamp, and we'll continue going through the CAD using Siemens NX. We already done the 2D modeling, we've went through the 3D modeling using the different 3D features, we went through the assembly, and now we're gonna go through the 2D drafting or the technical drawing. So within the technical drawing basically is the main sort of language which is being used between the different designers as well as the manufacturers. So this is the main and really important part of the design document that you need to present to your manager, to the manufacturer, and this is quite important because it should give all the important information about the product that you have in terms of the design specifics. And because it's really important, the authorities also come with different kind of the standards for it as well, such as the GD&T, which is the geometry, dimension, and tolerancing, as well as the different kind of local standardization, such as the ISO one or British Standard one, for instance, the BS 8888. I'm not going to go through these standards, which, if you're interested, is really important to go through and study yourself, because if in case you want to work in the UK, it's really important that you follow the BS 8888 in your technical drawing. What we're going to do today, we are going through the drafting environment or technical drawing side of Siemens NX to understand how we can work with the different type of views that would be automatically generated using the NX, and we're going to manipulate them, add the annotation to them, modify the annotations, work with the different kind of views such as the exploded drawing views. Also, we'll see how we can add the notes, for instance, and then finally save the file, print it out, or plot it. So let's begin these parts of the bootcamp using the Siemens NX. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and turn on and open my Siemens NX and take it from there. So hopefully you're now familiar with the Siemens NX environment. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a new 2D drafting for technical drawing file. In order to do that, there are different ways to decide whether you want to create a new file, a new separate file, or actually have the technical drawing or 2D drafting as a part of the main file you have. I'm going to go and demonstrate both of them to you, but let's start by creating a new 2D drawing or the technical drafting file. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up to one of the files that I have. Let's say I'm going to open up the assembly. And I'm going to tell you what's the difference between the 2D drawing for the assembly as well as the file. Once you open it up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the file and create a new file. And hopefully you remember there are different ways I could go and create a new file from the menu, on the top bar, from the file, or using the control N. Doesn't matter. So if you remember, we used to go to the modeling. But now for the drawing or 2D drafting, we're going to go to the drawing section. And now you can see there's different templates in there. I have to specify the units I want to continue and work with. Because I designed my parts using the millimeter unit, I gotta go and continue with that. And I need to specify what kind of template size I'm gonna go with. Let's go with the A3. So you need to decide which one you want to go for. Or even if you want, you can go with the blank and then control everything. I prefer to go with this one because I'm going to use the table it already has. And if you notice, I would be able to see that this is the automatic name has been generated, which basically the first part is the name of the model that I have. Whatever you name it, doesn't matter. DWG represent the drawing. But something is really important. This file is still is a .prt file. So all of the files you generate through the Siemens NX, as default, they have the .prt by default as an extension. So it's really important to save it in your local drive again. So usually we'll save it in the same folder that we already draw the file for. So we never have any kind of problem in terms of the loading the actual file, because basically what happened again, you will have some sort of linkage with the main sort of part you have. So same as assembly, it's better to save it to the same folder that you have. And what you do, then you click on OK. And now what the software asks you is basically you want to put some sort of information that goes to this section of the table that we have, such as the when was the first time that this, for instance, this drawing has been issued to you, which you can put a date there. Let me say I'm gonna put the 01/01 2021, for instance. And then I can continue. I said who draw it. Let's see, I'm gonna put my name, for instance, or the designer, doesn't matter. And now we're gonna continue who check this one. Let's say I'm gonna put the manager, or you put your name of your manager. Who approved it, let's say I'm gonna put the project manager, for instance. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on close, and if I zoom in, you will see that this is the information that is been appeared there. And now what the software is trying to do, it open up the view creation wizard for you. The view creation wizard is basically, it tells you every single stage of getting these sort of views by the help of software. So it's a really useful tool. If in case you accidentally click on cancel, close this one down, you can easily bring it back by clicking on the view creation wizard here. So what it does is basically is loading the files that are already open up. Because it's an assembly, I can see the assembly, I can see the file that I just created, you can see each individual component that I have, and once I click on them, you will get the different kind of view from it. Even if you want to create it and open up the new kind of file, you would be able to click on open and access and open up the new file. So let's say I'm gonna go with the, let's have a look. I'm gonna go with, let me see which one is better. Let's go with the casting. So I'm gonna pick up the casting.prt file. I'm gonna click on next, and you will see here. So you will have the boundaries around, and basically the boundary will control the scale for you. If you leave it for automatic, it depends on the size of the paper you have, the size of the part you designed it. You will decide what kind of a scale you want to, the software wants to use for you. If you want to go to the manual one, you can go there, change it to the manual, untick the auto scale fit, and now I would be able to change the scale. Let's say put it to the 1:1, and I can do it to the 2:1, which basically is the 2 times bigger than what it is, or even I can put it into the 1:2, which is a half of the size, which seems to be okay, to be honest. In this case, I need to change the orientation of these, but don't worry, I will go through it. And now what I can do, I can decide whether I want to see the invisible lines or not. So if you want to see them, you need to tick the process the hidden lines. So there should be hidden lines in there, which I'm gonna show it to you in a second. And now you will see whether you want to see it or not. So for instance, let me get rid of these first. Let me change the previous style. I think that would be easier for you to understand what I mean in here. So right now it's shaded. I can put it into the hidden wireframe. So you can see that the wireframe, but the hidden line, I can see the full wireframe in here. But let's put it to the hidden wireframe, and you can see that I should have some sort of hidden lines inside. And if I change the invisible, let's say to the dotted lines, if something is hidden, I would be able to actually see it and represent it in here basically. I can put the center lines, I can show the silhouettes, for instance. So you have full control of each individual of these views, which I'm gonna go and talk about it once I will start the model in details. So let's go and continue with the hidden wireframe. I'm gonna click on next, and now I'm gonna decide the first view I'm gonna go with, whether I want to start with the top, whether I want to start with the front, whether I want to go, for instance, with the bottom. Let's go with the left, because left gives me a good sort of orientation. And I'm gonna continue and go to the next. And now with the layout, I will decide which of these views I want. So usually by default, it's like that. And I can decide, let's say I start from this view. I'm gonna go for the right view. And let's say I'm gonna go with the top view. And now I'm gonna add the, for instance, the isometric view. So this is how you decide which of these wants to go for. And you can decide whether you will go with the associate alignments or not. Once you put the associate alignments, all of these things will be linked with each other. So whenever you modify this one, the rest will be modified. If you untick that one, so each of them becomes stands alone, and you will have a full control of those, which we're gonna go through it. I'm gonna go with the associate one, and then we'll do one more without activating on that one. So once I'm happy with everything, I'm gonna click on finish. And you can see I generated these 4 views from it. Because they are associated with each other, whenever I move one, the rest will move as well because all are associated. If I switch off the associate view, I could have a full control of each individual of those. And let's say, for instance, I want to delete every single of these. Let's say I'm gonna delete this one. What I can do, I can right click and click on delete. So this view would be deleted. Let me delete this one as well. Let me delete this one as well. Let's say I'm gonna have only this one. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get one more view from it. It's basically called the project view. So in order to do that, what I can do, I can either come here and click on the project view, or what I can do, I can pick this one, right click on it, and click on the add a project view. And within the add a project view, once I move out the mouse, I will get the project view on that side. Let's say I'm gonna have a project view on this side. I'm gonna have the project view on that side. And I'm gonna have, for instance, this view on this side if I want. I don't have to. And once you finish, you can click on escape. So every single of these, again, you have a control. Let me, for instance, go there. And in order to do that, what I can do, I can right click on it, on the model. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the setting. And in the settings, so I have some information that I have a full control about. For instance, if I go to the general, I would be able to change the scale of it again. So let's say I'm going to put it to 5:1. And if I click on apply, you can see now the scale has been changed. It was 1:2. I can go and change the angle of it. Sometimes you want to flip it around. Sometimes, for instance, you want to change the angle. Let's say I'm going to put 45 degrees here. And then if I click apply, you can see it gets the 45 degrees. Sometimes you want to flip this one around, put it to the, for instance, upside down. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put it 180 degrees and then apply it, and it would be have an angle of 180 degrees. In these cases, everything is fine, so I'm going to click apply. So you can have a control on the visible line. So you can see the visible line are here. What you can do, you can change, for instance, the size of them. Let me change it to this one. So you can see what's the difference. Let me put it to the original. And I think this was this one. And what I can do, you can even change them from the normal line to, for instance, to the dotted line, which is not what you usually do. But again, if this is something you're looking for, you would be able to do that as well. And you will have a control on the hidden lines, whether you want to see them or not. Let me untick it. So you will see that you no longer have any hidden lines. But if I click them around, and you can see hidden lines are activated, I can have them as the invisible. Let me put it as the invisible, so you don't see it. Or you can put it as a dotted one to be able to see those. And this is what I was talking about once we got these through the creation wizard. So basically with the creation wizard, you can do every single thing with one go, but usually I prefer to do it manually because then I will have a full control of every single of these. And you can continue with these. For instance, you can go with the shadings. You can see I will be able to change this one from the wireframe to put it as a fully shaded. This is especially because it's a first view, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with the wireframing. And also even with the projections, with the labels and these things, you would be able to change that. For instance, if I want to see the scale of it, I can click on it and then it shows the scale size for that. I can change the position of it, whether it's the above or whether it's below. And whether you want to add any kind of prefix to it. So you can see here is a prefix. I can change the scale, and instead of a scale, put whatever I want. So let's put the scale 1 to 3. You can see what I mean by that. So whatever text you put here, it will be updated on there. So that's this one I wanted to talk about. And let's say what else we'll go through. So let's go through the dimensioning. So if in case you want to add the dimension for it, you would be able to go there to the dimensioning, and you can either use the rapid dimensioning, which is exactly like the 2D modeling, which basically we used to use the rapid dimension. You can easily, for instance, say I'm gonna get the distance between these two. The rapid dimension is smart enough, just tells you what kind of dimension you will go through. But again, if you want to have a full control of that dimension, you can pick them up from here, whether you want to go with a linear, whether you want to go with the radial one, the angular one. If it's an arc, for instance, go there. Whether it's a kind of chamfer, you're gonna go there. So all of these you will have access to. if you know which one you're gonna go, or you can go with the rapid dimensioning. So for instance, if I'm gonna click on rapid dimensioning, I'm gonna pick up that circle there. What it does for me, it's, let me highlight it. I think, let me zoom in so it would be easier for you to have a look. If I click on rapid dimensioning, if I pick up that circle, and you can see that it automatically put the diameter of that one for me. So again, like the 2D modeling that we used to use, you will have the full control of these dimensions. If you want to move around these dimensions, you can click once on them and move them around. Let's say, for instance, I'm going to move this one around there. And if you want to put more information, let's say I'm going to put more information on this one, or let's say this one, what you can do, you can click once on it and then do a double click on that, and you will see this menu will pop up. Basically, for this one, I can decide whether I want to have the radius or I want to have the diameter. I can have the prefix. You can see I can have the prefix. I can have the suffix, whatever I want to do, for instance. I can do a text on the top. I can put a text on the bottom of, for instance, here as well. And also I can decide whether what kind of tolerance I'm gonna go for. For instance, if I activate this one, you can see it's without any tolerance by default, but realistically, whenever you will manufacture something, you will have some sort of tolerance, and then you as a designer should decide what kind of tolerance you're gonna go for. If you go with a really kind of high number of tolerances, basically you will need the accurate manufacturing, make it much more expensive. If you go with a low tolerancing, again, it's a little bit easier and cheaper to manufacture, but again, you won't have that kind of precision, and therefore you don't have good functionality, or you don't have the good looking of that one. So you will decide. If in case you want to have the tolerance, you can put the plus and minus here, and then you would be able to put the tolerance there. You can see there. Right now, it's a 0.100, so it's a 0.1, and then you will decide how many numbers you want to have. Let's say decimals. If I change these, you will see the decimals would then change. So for instance, let me put and change this one as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can see, because this one is a 2 decimals, let's go with a 1 decimal first, and then I can change that with the 2 decimals. I can change these to the 3 decimals, and what I can do is basically is this one. So sorry, this is about the main dimension. Sorry, I was wrong. This is about the dimension, the actual dimension you have, whether you want to have it with the any kind of decimal. Right now is exactly 12. That's why the decimal doesn't make sense. But that's about the tolerancing. For instance, that's with the 4 tolerancing. That's with the 6 decimals. If I want to go with just, let's say, 2 decimals like that. And also this one is for the actual dimension. So this one represents that one. This one represents this one. So let's review it again. That's the top. That's the the text you will have on the top. This one. Then you have the prefix. The prefix. The actual dimension, the tolerance, the suffix, and also the text on the bottom, or text on the bottom. Also about the signs, you would be able to put it as a diameter. This sign with this symbol, you can put it as a DIA. You can put it as a, for instance, the sphere diameter. So all these things depends on what kind of GD&T, what kind of standards you want to use, and these will become different. Even if in case you want to change the text of these, what you can do, you can click on here, the appearance. So you will see usually what you will see is like that. So all of them were closed down. And we can do, you can edit the text, you can change the text here, and you will see the text location. This is the above. I can go with the after, so you can see become suffix. I can go, for instance, with the text below is a text. So what it does, basically, whenever you go there, is either of these, any of these, you will move around with what you're doing in here. If you want to activate the symbols, you have them here. The symbols are there. These are for drafting. These are related to the GD&T. If you want to add something in here, for instance, and so on, whether you want to use any kind of fractions or not. And what else? So even if you want to change the appearance, you can click on here to the text settings. You can see that you would be able to go there and to go to the, for instance, text section in here. You can change the millimeter, you can change the units over there. You would be able to even have a full control of your text as well. Let's have a look. For instance, if you go to here, what you would be able to, you would be able to change the font of it as well. Let's say I'm gonna change the font and put to this one. That's the size of the font. Lot size 3.5. Let me put it as a 10, so you will understand it better. So you will have a full control of the text as well, what you're doing. So let me do a Control Z. What else I wanted to talk about it? So let's talk about how you would be able to add a text. If you want to add a text, and you just need to click on here, it's called Note. And what you can do, you can, for instance, here I just put the tutorial one, I'm gonna put test. And you can see you will have a full control of that text whenever you want. Let's leave it there. So I'm gonna zoom in and leave it there, and you can see that's a test here. And if I click on escape, you can see it stay there. If I want to modify that, I can double click on it. I will be able to change the name of it. If I want to change the font of it, so usually setting switch off, you would be able to click there and have a control of the font of it. Even if you want, you can click on the setting. It's exactly like before. In here you would be able to change the font, for instance. Let me change it then to this one. Even you would be able to change the size of the font. Let me put it to the 10, so you will understand what I mean by this one. So something is really important for you. You need to make sure the main goal of the 2D drawing, it should be really easy to read. So whenever you put these dimensions, make sure they don't block each other, for instance. So, and that's why, for instance, this dimension is not good. What I recommend, bring them out, bring these out. Even you don't have to put all the dimensions. So what you need to do, you just need to put the one that is really useful for you. If in case a view doesn't mean anything, doesn't need or give you any more information, don't leave it there. So for instance, let me get rid of these two. And let's say what I'm gonna do, let's say you have this one. So this one doesn't give me good understanding because I don't know how it actually looks like. So what I can do, as I mentioned earlier, I can get the project view from it. And now this view tells me a better understanding about my model, because then I can find out that there actually it is a cylindrical area in here. For instance, this view doesn't mean anything. Even this view is basically going to give me this information, so it's not something important for me. However, an isometric view will have a good understand, will give me a good understanding about how it looks like. So if I want to bring it out, what I can do, I can go to the base view. So I'm going to bring only one single view in here, and instead of the top, I'm going to change that to the isometric, for instance. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it in here, for instance. And again, you would be able to change the the scale of it as well. So let's say I'm gonna go to the setting here and change the scale of that one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the general and put it into the 1 to 2, for instance. So all these things, you will have a full control of them, so you can see everything is visible. For instance, the plane that I had in there, I didn't hide it, so that's why I see it here. If in case I want to hide this area, I can easily go back and update my design. So whatever you do in terms of design, whenever you change, for instance, that dimension in the actual file, here will be updated as well. So let me, for instance, get rid of this one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the cross sections. So you can see there are lots of the dotted lines in here because I added the hidden lines, but it actually doesn't give me much information about the, for instance, the holes that I have here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a section view, because section view is basically the model would be section. It gives me a better understanding about what's going on inside the part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on delete in here and right click in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get out a section view. I can easily get it from here, or what you can do, you can go there and click on that. It's the same thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on there at the section view. And now what I need to specify, I need to specify where I have that section. So I'm going to have it exactly in the middle. And now if I go down, the view that I will get is section view. So you will see it as a section, and you can now have a better understanding about the holes you have. So again, it's a clear design, but the really useful information that I get from it. So these kind of hashed lines give me a kind of really good representation of the material of the part as well. So if in case you want to change that, what you can do, you can come here and go to the setting, and within the setting you can see the pattern you will have here represent different things. So for instance, this one is for iron. If it's your material still is this one, you will be able to change it. For instance, if it's to the rubber or plastic, you will click on that. So each of these are standard and represent the different things. So let me go with the iron one. And again, you would be able to change the width of that one, for instance, and if you're happy with it, and click on close. So that's the section view as well, and this is something I wanted to talk about it. That's the full section view. But if in case you want to have some part of the section view, you would be able to do it as well. So in order to apply the breakout section view, let me get rid of this section view that I have. And let me project the normal view from this one. So I'm gonna use the other project view to get the normal view and leave it there. And click on escape. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna right click on this one. So this one is really important, and make sure you activate the sketch view. So this one will be the one that you're gonna work with, and I'm gonna work with the boundary of the breakout sketch view. So in order to make the boundary, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the sketch, and you will decide what kind of boundary you want to use, whether you want to use with a circle, rectangle, ellipse, whatever you want. Let me go with the rectangle, and it's exactly like a 2D modeling. And let me, for instance, draw a rectangle like that. And once you're happy with everything, you finish everything, you click on the finish a sketch. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and click in here, which is now the breakout section view. I need to pick up the view that I want to work with. So it is this one. And you can see now we go to the next stage. I need to specify the points I want to have the sketch view to be activated, the breakout view to be activated, which is this one. And now I'm gonna click on here to select the curve for my boundaries, and I'm gonna click on apply. And you can see now I apply the section view, but it's not the full model, it's the breakout section view. So it's just some part of the model, which is really good because this one is symmetrical. Once I have these, I have the rest on there, and I don't need to have it. So this is where we use this one. Even to be honest, I can come here, go to the setting, and make sure the hidden lines, they are hidden as well, because I don't need it basically in here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the hidden lines, gonna put it on an invisible, apply that, and click OK. So now it is much more cleaner, and I also have a good understanding of what's going on inside the part as well. So that's the breakout section view. So now let's say how we can have a detail view basically. With the detail view, you would be able to just zoom on a specific area and highlight it and show it bigger, for instance, because it have much more details that you want to represent. So what you can do from here, you can go onto a section, which is this one, is called detail view, and let me click on there. You will decide how you're gonna show it, whether you want to have it with a circle or whether with a rectangular. So let's go with the circle, and I need to specify where I want to have a zoom. I'm gonna, let's say, click there, and you can see now once you drag the mouse, you will get a different kind of size of the circle. So it depends where you want to magnify the area. So let me magnify, for instance, that area. I'm gonna click once, and now if I move around, then I will get a bigger size of that area as a detailed. So if I click there, then you will see that I can have a full control of the, for instance, a scale of it. I can either do it or one I was doing it. So that's now 1:1. Let's put it, I don't know, 1:2, for instance, which is exactly the same as what you will have there, but usually it's bigger. So for instance, here you can go and to put it into the 1:1, which gives you a much more information there to just show what it is. So that's about this one. Something else I wanted to mention, because I've just noticed that one. Even in here, once you double click, you will be able to decide whether you want to have the text as a horizontal. You can see the representation will then become different. Whether you want to have it like that, whether, for instance, you want to have it as a text over the dimensions, or whether you want to have it as the perpendicular to the dimensions. So you will decide which of these is more suitable for you. Let me go and talk about how you would be able to have the drawing files as a part of the actual file you have, rather than a separate one. Bear in mind this one was into the separate file, and now I'm going to tell you how you can have it as a part of the main file that you have as well. So let's say, for instance, I have this one that if you remember we use it for the assembly, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a drawing file as a part of the actual file that I have without creating a new file. So what I can do, I can move from the home tab, go to the application, and now I would be able to move from the modeling to the drafting, which basically open up the drafting side of the software for me as well. Let's say I'm gonna continue, so it's exactly like before, but the difference, I will have one single file that I'm gonna have everything. So I'm gonna click on OK. So again, like before, I would be able to put this information for the popular title block. I'm not going to do it, but again, you would be able to do that. And again, like before, you can get the different kind of a view from it. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go with the assembly final, which everything is assembled. And let's say I'm gonna go with the scale of the 1 to 2. Everything is fine. Let me change and get rid of that, and I'm gonna go with the wireframe, for instance, in here. I'm gonna go with the orientation. Let's start with the left. That's absolutely fine. Let me get rid of this one and go with that. It's okay, and I'm gonna go with finish. So let me do a quick update with this one, for instance. Let me flip this one around. So what I can do, if you remember, we were saying that you can go to the setting, I can go to the angle, and now I would be able to put this one as 180 degrees. And if I click on apply, so this one will rotate. So let me bring one more view. I'm gonna go to the base view. Let me click on this one. Let me bring the isometric and change the scale of that one to the 1 to 2, let's say. I'm not happy with the orientation. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click there. Let me specify the x-axis, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rotate it to, let's say, something like that. I'm gonna click OK, bring it there, click escape. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the setting, and let me see what else I want to change. I'm gonna go to the shading, bring back the partially shaded, and apply it. Let's go with the fully shaded, for instance, this one, and go to the OK. So for instance, you have something like that. And now if I go to here, which is the part navigator, you will see that I have the sheet 1, that is what I created. And if I want to have one more sheets, I can click on here. I would be able to even edit this sheet, for instance. And it's something which is really important. If I save it now, is basically I will have one file that if I go from the application to the modeling, again, I will activate the modeling side of the software, and you can see these are all individual components that I have. And if I go back to the application and activate drafting, and again, I will be back to the drafting, and I can have a look to the drafting file. So I will have one single file that are going to have everything within. So this is really useful tool if you as a designer you want to control of your file, to have everything from the 2D modeling, 3D modeling, assembly, as well as the drafting within one single file. So let's say you have this one, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring the list of the parts that I have. So what you can do, you can easily go there and click onto the part list, and you will see the components that you have, every single of these components that you will have, and you will decide. Sometimes you have the sub-assembly, you will be able to have it, bring it here. It's called the subchart part. Even into the levels, you will have that option to bring just the main parts, or even the kind of sub-assembled files. And you can see this is exactly like, for instance, Excel or Word. You would be able to grab it and leave it wherever you want. Every single of these, again, like before, you would be able to come here and go, for instance, to the setting to control these. For instance, whether you want to bring in a header, and whether you want to sort this out, so you can have a sorting, whether you want to have for instance, the part name, quantity, every single of these, whether you want to have it as alphabetically, or you want to manually control the kind of parts you will have here. And again, size of these, you would be able to actually move them around and change the size of that. So this is really useful tool, especially for the assembly. You just put the bill of the materials and also the parts that you have. And the other thing I wanted to show you too is just the balloons. And the balloons is basically, you can see that you will have a number there, but then you want to demonstrate it to the manufacturer or to the other designer which one represent what. So if you want to, for instance, bring the I don't know, balloons in here, what you can do, you can go there, right click, and what you will do, you click on the show balloons, and you will see that these balloons represent these things that we have there. Even each of these is fully controllable. You would be able to actually move them around and bring it to the where it's suitable. And that's the other thing I wanted to show you too. And something is really important. Everything it is in one single file. If you want to save it, you can just easily click on here, do a Control S, or you can go to the file and click on save, and now become part of the file. If you want to, for instance, then print it out, what you would be able to, you would be able to come here, click on the print, and you will be able to send it to the printer or convert it to the PDF file. If in case you want to convert it, for instance, to the plot, you will be able to do the same thing, which basically with the plot you will be able to convert it to the image as well, to be able to use and put into the actual product design document that you have. So let's go and continue with just doing the couple of really simple tutorials that hopefully give you a better understanding about these and actually put into the practice. So in this tutorial, what we're gonna do, we're gonna work with this model and apply these dimensions to it and get a technical drawing from it. So what I need to do, I need to go and open the file and then apply these dimensions. So let's do this one together. And although it says half an hour, but I'm sure that even you will be able to do it quickly. And let's say how long does it take for us to actually do this one. So let's open the file that I've already uploaded for you, which is this one. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open this one up. And once you open it, basically the way you look at it is through the modeling. So you will see like that. And what I want you to do in this tutorial, I want you to actually go to the application, activate the drafting, and this is what I've done. But let's create a new one. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go there and create a new sheet. Let's go with the A3, and I'm gonna click on OK. And let's put the first issue date. I'm gonna put it, I don't know, 1st of January 2021, or whatever date you will have as the first time it's been issued, drawn by, let's put your name there. Check by, let's put the name of the manager or whoever you have and there, or let's put the name of the project manager as the person who approved this document, and click on close. So whatever you put there is basically come here. And now what I'm going to do, I'm gonna put a title there. So in order to do that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the note, and let's leave it there, and let's put a note here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna double click on this text and put it as a CAD CAE Bootcamp. Let's put the drafting tutorial 1 and click on close. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move this one around and let's make it a little bit nicer. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna right click, go to the setting, and let's change this one to the bold, for instance, and click on close. So that's a text. Let me put it to the fit to the screen, and this is what we are doing in here. So you can see that this is what we are doing in there, so which is another sheet. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring the view manually. So let me bring the first view. So I'm gonna click on the base view in here, and let's say, yeah, top one seems to be good, but I don't like the 1:1. I'm gonna change the scale of it. Let's put it a 1:2. That seems to be good. Yes, let's go to this one. 1:2 seems to be good, and I'm gonna leave it in here. Let's get another view. This one is really good. I'm gonna continue and get the side view. So let's leave it like that because I don't like that view. It's gonna be generated through there, and this one as well. So let's just leave it like that. Just press on escape. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come here, right click on that, and get another project view. It's called Add Project View. Let's go there, get a side view from it, and let's leave it like that. So everything seems to be good. I'm gonna bring them a little bit closer. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the base view one more time, and now I'm gonna bring the isometric view. Isometric is good. Let's put it to the 1 to 2. Let's bring it there, leave it there. It's really good. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the shape of that one, the shade of that one. So I'm gonna go to the setting. Let me go to the shadings and change this one to the fully shaded, for instance, and click OK. And now let's start by applying the dimension. So I'm gonna zoom a little bit, so hopefully it would be easier for you to see it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the dimensioning in here on the top. So I'm gonna go to the rapid dimensioning. I'm gonna put the dimension between this one and that one, and it is 102. I'm gonna leave it there. Click on escape, and I'm gonna use another one and get the dimension between this line and this line. Make sure you zoom in, because sometimes with the rapid dimension you click somewhere that is not what you're looking for. Pick up this line and then pick up that line. Let me bring it out for 10 mil and click on escape. So that 10 mil is inside. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click once on it and then bring and grab this out of this one, so it would be easier for the person to read it. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move out and let's get the dimension for this one. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna click on the rapid dimension one more time. Let's click on the outer of this circle and get that 38 out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna double click and we're gonna add a few text to it. So the prefix text is the seabore diameter. So an suffix would be 6 deep. So we're gonna put the depth of that one as well. And on the top, what I'm gonna write, 20 true. And of course, if you know the coding for that one, it would be easier to get the symbol. But basically, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the diameter symbol. In order to do that, what I can do, I can go and click on the text in here, and usually the symbol are closed. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna activate the symbols and go and change this one. Go to the above, because it's at above text, so to see the 20 true. And you can see the symbols. If I go to the GD and T, and I should have a symbol for the diameter. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the back of it and now go to the GD and T, click on there, and you can see the O would appear there. If you know the coding, I could easily use that one and put that one, but I want to demonstrate it for you. So that's the 20 diameter true as well. And let me even change the shape of this one and go with this one, and let me grab this one, bring it out a little bit so it would be easier for the person to read it. That's exactly what I was looking for. And let me zoom out a little bit. Let me add one more dimension, which basically between these two holes are 156. I'm gonna move it a little bit, close this one out. Let's put it to the fit, and let me bring this one a little bit to there. Let me continue. Let me zoom in and then continue with the dimensioning. So what I know is basically the dimension between these two holes are important, so I'm gonna leave it there. And let me continue, put the radius of this one. So that's okay. And what I'm gonna do, this one as well. So that's for the diameter as well. Let me continue and get, for instance, this radius as well. And that's the radius 30. It automatically got the radius, but again, depends on which one you're gonna go for, whether you want to go with the diameter. This one is a radius because it's a fillet or the edge blend that the person applied. So let me continue and getting this one to, yes, that line through this line as well, I'm gonna leave it there because it's a little bit nicer. So this one is 96, and I'm gonna continue by just putting the dimension between these two, which is 216. The height of this one, I think I've done everything for that one in terms of dimension. Let me continue and go to the sides. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the dimension between this line and that line as 20. Let me bring it out. Dimension between these point, the point, and this one and this one. Now it's correct. Okay, and let me bring it back to the same place, so actually it would be a little bit nicer once we have them next to each other. Okay, and let me bring it out as well, so it would be easier for the person to read. And what I'm gonna do, the same thing for there, even if you want. To be honest, even inside was okay, but again, with this dimension, which is this one to that point again. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it better between this point and this one, which is 15. Let me bring this out a little bit so it would be easier again to be read. And so the distance between this one and this line, so you can see here it didn't pick up the linear in here. So what you can do, you can come there and just say that you're looking for the horizontal one. So is these two is 82. Usually pick it up, but if in case it didn't pick it up, so you can decide which one you're looking for. I'm gonna go for okay, so this one to this one is 40, because I think from the inferred again change to the horizontal. So make sure that this one is inferred. Or put it to the vertical actually if it's a vertical one. It's between this one and this one. And again, this one is 9. Inside to be okay. So everything seems to be done, and I guess I put all the information that they're looking for from this tutorial. If in case you want to, for instance, save that, you can easily do a Control and S and save it, and you can see these are the different sheets you will have, and you will be able to actually move them around. Even if you want, you can come here and basically rename it to whatever you're looking for. If you want to print it out, you can easily go there, click on here. Let's say the sheet 3 that I have, I'm gonna put it to the PDF. Let me click on OK. Let me put it to the tutorial 1, and I'm gonna call it the tutorial 1A because I already have one, and click save. And now if I go to the folder, yes, and you can see that this is what we generated. So let's continue and go with the second tutorial. You've seen this first one was quite simple. We've done it quickly. It doesn't take that much time, so it's really important actually follow the instruction properly, but again, it would be quite straightforward. Let's go with the second tutorial. So in this tutorial, what we're going to do, we're going to apply the exploded view about the kind of isometric view that we got from this model. If you remember, we've done that through the assembly, and apply the list of materials as well. Let's go and do this one. So what I'm going to do, let's go to the tutorial 2, flange coupling assembly. Make sure you open up the flange coupling assembly file. So it's a full assembly file. And you will see it because I already saved it to the drafting, open up as a 2D drafting. And let's go from the application, go to the modeling. And if you remember what we've done, in here, we actually got the exploded view through the assembly. If you remember in the assembly, we got that exploded view. So without explosion, and also we have the exploded view. So make sure that once you have the model, from the no explosion, bring it back to the exploded view like that. So any kind of explosion you get. So first you have to have an explosion, and then what you can do, go to the application, go to the drafting. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a new sheet basically to show you to you how we can do that. I'm going to make a new one. Let's go with the A3 or even A0, whatever you want. And put these information. Again, populate title block like before. You can put this information. I'm not going to do it now because you know it better than me how to do it. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go with the base view, let's say. And now once the file is open, I'm going to go with the let's say which one, with the isometric one. So that's really good. And let's change the scale to the 1:2, and I'm gonna leave it there. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and get one more time the base view. But this time, if I go to the trimetric, you can see I get the same exploded view that I have because already activated exploded view. Make sure so you already activated, because if there is no explosion, you won't be able to see it. Let me actually put it to the 1:2. In this case again, I'm gonna leave it exactly in the center of that one, like that. It's absolutely fine. And now you will see you get the error. The reason for it because I already have power list. If you have a look here, is you already have the power list. What you can do easily get rid of this one because I already have one more model which has the part list. But don't worry, in your case usually you don't have it unless you create it. So now if you click one more time on the part list, then you will get the part list. Let me leave it there. And now let's apply the balloons. And what I'm gonna do, I can let's put it here for instance. I'm gonna go there and click on show balloons. Let's say this one is the number 2 and that one is the number 1 and that's the third one we have. Let me bring it to here for instance. You can easily put it on there or even on there. It doesn't matter. Even if you want, I could bring the balloons in there, but because I already applied in here, yeah, it doesn't make it complicated for you because I already applied there. You won't be able to have it there. But if in case I didn't have it, let me show it to you. Let me do a Control Z and then apply the balloons in here. And you can see you can get the balloons because you cannot have it so many times. The software is smart enough to make sure that prevents you from making your design complicated. And that's applying balloons, and that's it. So you can click on the save. If you want, you can print it, and same as what we've done. So that's for the 2D drafting. Hopefully we learned something new. Hopefully now you have a good understanding from the earliest stage of the design that we will turn it to the CAD model using 2D modeling, then make it to the 3D modeling by applying the features, then apply the assembly to it, and then take it to the next stage and get the technical drawing out of it. So that's it from me. Thank you so much everyone for attending these sessions. My name is Esfandiar Khaleghi, and see you on to the live drop-in sessions. Thank you.